of yoga is derived from the phrase Ashtanga Yoga or the label Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga means 8 limbs. Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. And these are in order of sequence, in the right sequence. They are called Yama, which is rules of personal conduct and social conduct in many ways. Niyama, which are certain observances. So before I even go further, I should say that Yama and Niyama, the rules of personal and social conduct, are actually outcomes of our connection to the source. They're not moral injunctions from a place of self-righteous morality. And the yamas and niyamas, the rules of social and personal conduct, are natural outcomes of your connecting to the source of all existence, to the source of all experience, to the source of all knowing, which ultimately is pure consciousness, the self of the individual and the self of the universe. Okay, but now let's go to the other limbs of yoga. Yoga asana, usually translated as yoga postures. But the word asana actually means seat. And in this case, the yogasana are actually seats of awareness. So in a complete yoga program, Hatha Yoga program, you have what are called sitting postures, you have standing postures, you have twists, you have lying postures, and you have various movements that go from one posture to another. And in each of these postures, there's a particular localization of awareness. Awareness by itself, as you know, is non-local, infinite. So with each posture, each yogasana, you're taking infinite awareness and localizing it to a particular experience, which we call a particular location of the body. But that particular location of the body is actually a perceptual activity in consciousness that we localize as the body, the changing perceptual experience. So with each asana, whether it's whatever, cat, cow, downward dog, upward dog, Surya Namaskar, the lying postures, happy baby, child pose, headstand, you're actually bringing awareness to a particular aspect of perceptual activity localized in what we call the body. And if we understand this, if we practice yogasana with focused awareness, bringing awareness to that activity, which is a sensation in the body, and at the same time practicing drishti, which is called gaze, and combining it with breath, then lots of magical things happen. Yogasana stimulates every branch of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the parasympathetic nerve in our body, which is the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system, and it is the healing nerve. It's the nerve in our body which is basically geared toward restoring homeostasis. It's the 10th cranial nerve. It comes from the midbrain. It influences with interaction other nerves in the face. For example, the oculomotor nerve, which is the nerve responsible for movement of the eyes. The laryngeal nerve, that is responsible for the tone of your voice. The facial nerve, which tells you what your facial expression is, etc., etc. So tone of voice, facial expressions, mood, vagal tone are all interrelated. And the vagus nerve also influences what we call the heart. It increases heart rate variability, therefore decreases stress. It goes through the diaphragm, pierces the diaphragm, and it innervates every single visceral organ in the body, ultimately bringing about homeostasis or self-regulation and decreasing inflammation. So I would say yoga literally heals the body by reducing inflammation and restoring homeostasis, which is self-regulation, a dynamic state of non-change in the midst of change. It also decreases healing. And particularly when you combine it with breathing, with gaze, with focused awareness, and sometimes with intonation, chanting of mantras, this is, according to the polyvagal theory, the best practice for total body healing. Okay, so asana is a very important aspect of localizing awareness from non-local being to whatever organ needs to be healed. That would then be the third limb of yoga. The fourth limb of yoga is pranayama. Pranayama is the regulation of breath, respiratory control, or neuro-respiratory regulation. There are hundreds of pranayams, some that are invigorating, some that are calming, some that are cooling. These different aspects of breathing actually also can regulate the body. Yes, somebody from India is saying this is not direct path. Yes, this is not direct path. I'll come to that in a moment. Okay, so pranayama is combined with asana, accelerates the whole process of healing, but pranayama can also be specific, either to invigorate the body or cool the body or calm the body, energize the body, warm the body, etc., etc. Pranayama is amazing in its ability to regulate metabolism, and one can use pranayama along with yogasana to enhance homeostasis as well. Okay, Payal Sharma says, what is meta-human? Meta means beyond, and human means the conditioned mind. So meta-human is beyond the conditioned mind, getting in touch with the source of all knowing and experience. Not just what you know and experience, but the source of all knowing and experience, which is the ultimate reality. Okay, so now that we've understood a little bit about pranayama, the next aspect of yoga after these four first limbs is called pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses, but it can also be directing the attention to what's happening inside your body, to what's happening in your hello Ramanand Dikshit, great to hear from you after all these months. Okay, so pratyahara is a withdrawal of senses, interoception, the ability to actually direct your attention and intention to your bodily organs, the viscera, to your heart, to be able to regulate your heart rate, therefore to lower your blood pressure, to regulate the activity of homeostasis in different organs. These are all techniques that stimulate a part of the brain called the insula, and can be used again to direct healing and self-regulation simply by attention and intention to different aspects of our internal organs. I can, for example, lower my heart rate and lower my blood pressure and change my body temperature because I've been practicing pratyahara and introspection for a long time. Okay, that's the fifth limb of yoga. The sixth is dharana, which is focused awareness. Dharana is focused awareness. Focused awareness of anything these days. We can also refer to it as various forms of mindfulness. Direct awareness to the body, direct awareness to mental space, direct awareness to the web of relationship, direct awareness to the inside of the body, pratyahara. But then if you combine that with the last two aspects, dhyan, which is meditation, and samadhi, which is transcendence, then you have completed all the 8 limbs of yoga. And you can practice these and understand them as a means to get in touch with the 4th state of consciousness, which is called turiya. Turiya is transcendental consciousness or soul consciousness, getting in touch with the source of knowing and experience, pure knowing, pure experience, all possibilities, infinite correlation, the realm of unpredictability, the source of intention, attention. All this can be accomplished through the combination of dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Dharana, focused awareness; dhyan, meditation; samadhi, transcendence. In fact, when you combine the 8 limbs of yoga as a regular practice, and particularly if you refine the process of dharana, dhyan, samadhi, then you have access to what the yogic traditions call siddhis, or supernormal powers. Supernormal powers. But they're not supernormal powers, they are dormant potentials, which are all non-local, such as extrasensory perception, precognition, memory of the past or even past lives, and also high level of intuition, creativity, vision, and ultimately what people call psychic powers. But they're not psychic powers, they're transpersonal, dormant, non-local potentials which can be actualized in experience. So in a sense, we all have supernormal powers, just the ability to get in touch with that field of all possibilities, introduce a subtle intention, combine it with focused awareness, go deep into the stillness of the mind, release the intention there, and let the organizing power of consciousness orchestrate all the details. And this is how the potential becomes the actual. So beyond turiya is cosmic consciousness, local and non-local awareness at the same time. The knowing that every experience appears as an object on the screen of awareness. Subtle experiences are objects called thoughts and feelings and emotions and images. Gross objects are the physical world and the physical body, the changing physical body, are shifting perceptual experiences, also modified forms of consciousness. So with the ability to go beyond thought, ultimately experience turiya, and then be established in turiya is to have cosmic consciousness, the spontaneous fulfillment of desire, the organization of synchronicity. All of that happens very spontaneously when we live in that state where our internal reference point is not the mind, not the body, not the experience, not what we know. These are all objects of experience, subtle and gross. We shift to the source of all knowing and experience, and we live there. And that cosmic consciousness leads to synchronicity, loss of fear of death, and the deeper understanding that every experience and every knowing is an object on the screen of consciousness, and a changing object on the screen of consciousness. You are the eternal subject in which knower, knowing, and known are always present. In cosmic consciousness, We lose the fear of death because we recognize that we are not the experience of body, mind, and universe. We are the source of all these experiences, the ever-present, eternal, witnessing awareness. Cosmic consciousness ultimately leads to divine consciousness, where the awareness that is our internal reference point is cognized in every object of perception. And so this object of perception also shines forth in its ultimate glory as infinite being. Divine consciousness is the realm of miracles. And that divine consciousness ultimately leads to unity consciousness or Brahman consciousness, where all observers, all modes of observation, all knowers, all resolve into one being, and the whole universe is seen as an expression of that one being. So these are actually the 7 states into which consciousness can shift, showing consciousness to be a field of infinite possibilities, where each shift of consciousness allows for a different knowing, a different perception, a different quality of experience, and expanding synchronicity and spontaneous fulfillment of desire. Once again, these states of consciousness are waking, which presumably you are engaged in right now with me, dreaming, which we experience every night. So waking state is called Jagrit Chetna. Jagrit means the awake state. Dreaming state is called Sushupti. We experience it every night. And then deep sleep the dream state is called Swapna. Deep sleep is called Sushupti, the absence of all perceptual and cognitive activity, but experiencing the ground state of being. Deep sleep, very close. And then as we go beyond deep sleep into Turiya, which is the 4th state, and we enter the realm of witnessing awareness. And we can experience in Turiya lucid dreams, but also as you get established in Turiya, then that is called Turiya Tatta, the cosmic consciousness, where Turiya is always established. So that then is called cosmic consciousness or Turiya Tatta. And then beyond that, the divine consciousness is literally the experience of the witness, both in the subject on the object of experience. It's called Bhagavad Chetna. And then going beyond that into unity consciousness is called Brahman consciousness or Brahman Chetna. So you see how this journey is a progressive journey. Somebody said this is not the direct path. Yes, it's not the direct path. Direct path is being in touch with the modalities of experience without interpreting them, and actually getting in touch with the raw material of every experience and recognizing that can be woven, the raw material of experience can be woven into any story. And basically that's what our life is, a continuum of stories based on memories, past impressions, karma, and desires. But ultimately to go beyond all these stories, to know that we are the ultimate storyteller and there are infinite stories to be told, and actually all stories can be transcended in being. The choice is ours at all times. So yoga literally heals the body physiologically. It helps heal the mind through the various practices of yama and niyama. Ultimately, it resurrects the soul, which is the ground state of all existence. It is this soul that is symbolically represented as experience of mind, body, and universe. And the symbol obviously is also subject to change, which means the soul also evolves in cosmic time. And as it evolves in cosmic time, it symbolically expresses itself as a morphing, literally, of the body, of the mind, and of the universe, or the experience of the universe. Just change the word body to a perceptual activity and experience. Change the word, reframe the physical world as a changing perceptual activity, and reframe yourself as that which is projecting as mind, body, universe, as a unified changing activity or story. Of course, all stories are provisional, and all stories are subject to change. Payal Sharma asks, can we define cosmic time? Well, in the Vedanta, the cosmic time is defined as yugas or eons of time, and is connected to the idea of how collective consciousness evolves over epochs, from a state of enlightenment to ultimately a state of ignorance, in between many other states, and then again moves from ignorance to enlightenment. It is the collective consciousness that filters itself through the conditioned mind as our personal experience of the world. Okay, I think that was a short description of yoga, and hopefully that helped you a little bit. Now is not a moment in time. Yes, now is not a moment in time. Now that you brought it up, my friend, what is now? Now is the timeless, eternal state of being. As soon as the state of being gets disturbed and splits into subject-object experiences, then that movement of thought, which also identifies the ego as the internal reference point, that creates the experience of time. Time is the movement of thought with ego as the internal reference point. Go beyond the ego, you break the barrier of time. So thank you, Ramanand Dikshit, for reminding me to talk about this. Okay, thanks everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow probably, or whenever. But I'd like to explore with you the idea further that time is such an interesting illusion, and the way it is metabolized also changes the experience of the illusion that we call the body. I hope that's making some sense. You know, you change the experience of time and you change the experience of the body, because the body is the metabolism of time. I'd like to explore this with you, and we'll do it some time in the future. Okay, but if your body is modified consciousness, you should be able to change it. And if time is subject to revision, then body, metabolism, and time go together. And this could be the basis of a whole new understanding of how aging is flexible and subject to revision as well. Okay, my friends, see you tomorrow.